There comes a moment, not once, not twice, but many times in life, when you find yourself sitting alone in silence, not surrounded by noise or distraction, but truly alone, alone with the echoes of your pain. And in that stillness, your mind asks the hardest questions. Why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did they leave? Why did I lose everything I held dear? Why did I have to suffer so much just to survive? And then you wait for a sign, you look around for answers, but the world, it stays quiet, your phone doesn't ring, no message lights up the screen, no cheering crowd, no applause, only silence, and what you feel in that silence is emptiness. But I want you to hear this clearly, that emptiness is not a void to be feared. It is not a dark hole pulling you down. It is a doorway, a sacred, mysterious doorway, a doorway to a version of yourself that does not yet exist but must be born. Not born in joy, not born in comfort, not born in the applause of others, but born in the rawness of pain, because pain. Oh, pain is a teacher unlike any other. It's a purifier. It strips away the surface illusions. It is the soil where your deepest wisdom will take root and grow. And if you are willing to sit with that pain, not to escape it, not to numb it, not to run away from it, if you dare to stay with it, to feel it fully, you will discover something sacred. You will discover yourself. So today, I am not here to offer you a pretty speech. I am not here to offer easy answers or false comfort. I am here to walk with you through the brokenness, to sit beside your grief, to lean into the silence with you when hope feels like a distant memory. Because the most powerful people I have ever met, they weren't those who never suffered. No, they were those who learned to turn their wounds into wisdom. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of a new chapter. So take a deep breath, my love, and let us begin. Pain is not just a feeling. It is not just heartbreak or sorrow or the ache you carry in your chest. It is more than the lump in your throat or the tears that fall silently in the dark. Pain is sacred. Pain is what happens when life strips away everything that is not truly you. All the masks you've worn to please others. All the lies you were told about who you should be. All the beliefs that kept you small, hidden, afraid. Pain is your soul's rebellion. It is the fierce voice inside you shouting, I cannot live like this anymore. We live in a world that tells us to avoid pain at all costs, to medicate it, to suppress it, to hide it behind distractions. But pain is the portal. The very thing you want to escape is the very gateway to your liberation. Pain cracks you open, and inside that crack is where the light gets in. That light is you. I remember a time in my own life when I was completely broken, alone, betrayed, ashamed. I thought, this is it. I will never come back from this. But today, I want to tell you with every fiber of my being you will rise. And not just rise, you will soar. Because every scar you carry, every tear you've cried, every moment you felt shattered, they are seeds. And when you water those seeds with truth, with courage, with love, they bloom into wisdom. Wisdom cannot be taken away. It cannot be stolen or erased. Wisdom is what makes you unshakable. Wisdom is what sets you free. There will be a moment in your life, maybe it's already happened, or maybe it's still coming, where everything you believed about yourself will begin to unravel. The job that made you feel secure will vanish. The person you gave your heart to will walk away. The dream you held onto with trembling hands will slip through your fingers like smoke. And in that moment, in that hollow silence, you will look up and ask life, why me? And the answer will not come in thunder or lightning. It will come in the stillness. It will come in the tears that you cry in the dark when no one is watching. It will come in the quiet strength that rises in your chest the next morning when you decide to stand up anyway. Because pain, as much as we hate to admit it, is not life's punishment. It's life's greatest invitation, an invitation to wake up, to go deeper, to strip away everything that's not real, everything that was never you to begin with. See, I used to think pain was the end. I really did. I thought pain meant failure. I thought pain meant rejection. I thought pain meant I wasn't enough. But now I know pain is the beginning. Pain is the fire that forges your soul into something unshakable. Pain is the process of becoming. Every woman I've spoken to, every man who stood in my presence and opened their heart, has told me the same thing in different words. I didn't find myself in success. I found myself in struggle. The tears you shed aren't just grief, they're transformation. The ache in your chest, it's your heart expanding to hold more love than it ever has before. That loneliness, it's your soul creating space for a deeper connection to the divine. So hear me when I say this. Your pain is not a dead end. It's not a detour, it's a doorway, and what's on the other side of that doorway is you, but not the old you, the real you, the brave you, the awakened you. We live in a world that celebrates distractions. A world that says, don't feel that. Just scroll past it. Buy something, drink something, post something. Just keep going. But I want to tell you something that may feel uncomfortable at first, and it may even go against everything you've been taught about strength, success, and survival. You must sit with your pain. Yes, sit with it. Look it in the eyes, name it, let it breathe, because whatever you refuse to face will silently control you. I know this from my own life. There were days when I smiled in public and broke down in private. There were moments when I pretended to be okay because the world rewards strength, doesn't it? But I wasn't strong. I was avoiding, and avoidance is not strength. It is self-abandonment in disguise. And I had to learn, sometimes the hard way, that pain doesn't leave you because you ignore it. It grows in the dark. It roots itself in your relationships. It echoes in your decisions. It sabotages your joy in moments when everything should feel right, but something feels off, something unspoken, something unresolved. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever been surrounded by laughter, love, or even success? And yet your soul feels like it's screaming behind your smile. That's not brokenness. That's buried pain asking to be seen, asking to be heard, asking to be healed. Let me say this gently, with all the love I can pour into these words. You don't need to run anymore. You've been running for too long, running from the childhood wounds that still echo in your adult life, running from the heartbreak that you never gave yourself permission to grieve, running from the voice inside that says, you deserve more than this. But what if just for a moment you stopped, you closed your eyes, you took a deep breath, and instead of reaching for something to numb it, you allowed the pain to speak? You might hear your inner child say, I didn't feel safe. You might hear your past self say, I was never chosen. You might feel tears rise that you've held back for 10, 20, 30 years, and that moment, beloved, that is holy, because pain, when faced with love and honesty, begins to soften. It begins to shift. It begins to alchemize into something powerful. And I promise you this, the pain you're willing to sit with is the pain that will set you free, because once you face it, it no longer has power over you. You become the master, you become the healer, you become the storyteller not of your suffering, but of your survival. You don't need to explain it to anyone. You don't need to justify it. You don't need permission to cry. This is your moment, this is your reckoning, this is your homecoming, so go ahead, sit with it, hold it gently, let the tears come, and when they do, don't see them as weakness, see them as release, as cleansing, as sacred, because healing doesn't begin when you run from the pain. It begins when you honor it, when you invite it in and say, "I'm here, I'm listening, I'm not afraid anymore." When we think about wounds, we usually think of scars, pain, and brokenness. We want to cover them up, hide them, erase them if we could. But what if I told you the greatest treasures of your life, your deepest wisdom, your truest power, your most profound gifts are hidden in those very wounds? That the cracks in your soul are the places where light pours in, that your pain is not just suffering, but a sacred teacher. Life doesn't give us wounds without reason. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of feeling lost or less than, is a page in the story you are writing about who you really are, and those pages hold keys to empathy, courage, compassion, and authenticity. You see, when you live a life without scars, without pain, you live on the surface. You miss the depth, the richness, the fullness that comes from having felt. Some of the most beautiful, inspiring souls I have met, those who light up a room with their presence, carry stories of great pain. But they carry something else too, wisdom, a knowing that comes from surviving, from learning lessons that no textbook or classroom could ever teach. They have sat with their wounds long enough to realize that pain is a language speaking to them about their values, their boundaries, their desires, their purpose. For example, when your heart has been broken by love, you learn what it means to truly love yourself. You learn what kindness looks like when it comes from inside, not from someone else's approval. When trust is shattered, you learn the art of discernment, how to protect your spirit without building walls too high to climb over. When you've been rejected, you learn resilience, the power to stand again and again, even when the world says no. Your wounds are maps that guide you to your most authentic self. If you ignore them, you wander lost in the maze of fear, doubt, and false identity. But if you follow them, if you listen closely, they will lead you home, home to your strength, home to your voice, home to the person you were always meant to be. I know it's hard to believe sometimes. I know it feels easier to just pretend you're fine. But beneath the surface, your soul is asking you to see your pain as a gift, not because it feels good, but because it is good. It's good in the way that a storm is good. It shakes you to your core, breaks the old branches, and makes space for new growth. Imagine if you could hold your wounds with tenderness. Imagine if you could see them not as mistakes or weaknesses, but as sacred portals. If you could say to yourself, "Thank you for this pain. Thank you for showing me what matters most." That is the moment when the veil lifts, when the chains of shame, guilt, and regret fall away. When you realize that your greatest power lies not in perfection, but in your willingness to be real, to be vulnerable, to be beautifully, imperfectly human. So I invite you to become a student of your wounds. Ask yourself, what is this pain trying to teach me? What gifts lie hidden beneath my hurt? How can I turn my suffering into strength? This journey is not easy. It requires courage, patience, and above all, compassion. But it is the path to true freedom, the path to a life lived with meaning, purpose, and heart. Remember, the wisdom is hidden in the wound, and when you find it, you will find yourself. So many of us fall into the trap of thinking that healing is a goal, a place we arrive at, a box we check, a finish line we cross. We imagine that one day we'll wake up and the pain will be gone, the scars will be invisible, and we'll be whole and perfect and healed forever. But healing is not a destination. It is a journey, a winding, unpredictable path that stretches out before us like the open road beneath our feet. And it is this journey, with all its twists, turns, setbacks, and breakthroughs, that shapes who we become. When I say healing is a journey, I mean it in the deepest, most expansive sense. It is not about erasing your past or pretending it didn't happen. It's about learning to carry your past with grace. It's about making peace with the parts of yourself you once wanted to hide away or run from. Healing means allowing your wounds to breathe and evolve, and trusting that every step, even the painful ones, are moving you forward. Think about the seasons of nature. The tree does not rush to bloom in spring. It waits patiently through winter, gathering strength in its roots beneath the frozen earth. It withstands storms that threaten to break it. It grows slowly, steadily, with intention. That's healing. Slow, organic, beautiful in its imperfections. You might have days where you feel like you've taken 10 steps forward, and then suddenly 3 steps back. Maybe you feel like giving up. Maybe the pain feels too much. But those backward steps are part of the dance. They're reminders that healing is not linear. It's messy, confusing, and sometimes downright painful. In those moments, I want you to be gentle with yourself, to remind yourself that progress is not always visible, that sometimes just showing up for yourself even when it feels impossible is the greatest act of courage you can give. Healing is also about surrender. Surrendering control over the timeline, surrendering the need to fix everything immediately, surrendering the idea that you have to do it alone. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to lean on others. Healing thrives in community, in shared stories, in hands that hold yours when your own feel too weak. There is no shame in vulnerability. There is no weakness in admitting you can't do it all by yourself. When you embrace healing as a journey, you open yourself up to transformation, a transformation that is gradual, profound, and lasting. You begin to notice the little miracles, the moments when your heart feels lighter, the mornings when you smile without forcing it, the days when old wounds no longer sting as sharply, the quiet confidence that grows inside you, not because you are perfect, but because you have survived and you are still standing. So, remember, healing is not about becoming flawless. It's about becoming whole, whole with all your scars, whole with all your stories, whole with all your humanity. Take your time, be patient, honor your own pace. Because this journey of healing is the most sacred journey you will ever take, and every step you take is a victory. Your story, every chapter, every struggle, every triumph is your power. It is not something to hide, to be ashamed of, or to diminish. It is a light that shines through the darkness, a beacon for those who feel lost, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. For too long, many of us have been told to keep our stories quiet, to sanitize them for public consumption, to package them neatly so they don't scare or burden others. But your story, in its raw, unfiltered truth, is a gift. It is a gift not only to yourself, but to the world. Think about the people who have moved you most deeply in your life, the ones who made you feel seen and understood. Chances are, their power came not from perfection, but from their willingness to be real, to share their vulnerabilities, to show their wounds and their wisdom, because stories connect us. They remind us that we are not alone. Your story carries lessons that no textbook can teach. It carries empathy that comes from having lived through pain. It carries hope that is born from survival, and it carries the courage to keep going when the world says stop. When you own your story, you reclaim your voice. You take back the narrative from shame, fear, and silence. You stand tall and say, "This is who I am. This is what I have lived through, and I am still here." There is immense power in that declaration, because it transforms you from victim to survivor, from silence to storyteller, from invisible to unstoppable. Your story also has the power to heal others. There are people out there right now who need to hear what you have been through. who need to know that they are not broken, that they are not alone, that healing is possible, that hope is alive. So I want you to ask yourself, what is my story? How can I share it with authenticity and courage? What truth do I carry that could light the way for someone else? And here is the beautiful truth. Your story does not have to be perfect or polished. It does not have to be easy to tell. It only has to be yours. The moments you have lived, the battles you have fought, the lessons you have learned, they are the foundation of your power. They are the fire that fuels your purpose. They are the voice that will inspire, uplift, and change lives. So today, I invite you to embrace your story fully, to hold it close with love and pride, to share it boldly, knowing that your truth is the light that the world needs. Your story is your power, your story is your gift, and your story is your legacy. Stand tall, speak loud, shine bright, because the world is waiting to hear your voice. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to take a deep breath and feel the weight of what you have just embraced. You have looked inward, faced your pain, and begun to see your wounds not as weaknesses, but as sacred doorways to wisdom. You have understood that healing is not a race or a finish line, but a lifelong journey, one that demands patience, courage, and self-compassion. Remember this: your story is not something to hide away. It is the power that fuels your light, the fire that keeps you moving forward when the world feels dark, and the gift that you offer to others simply by being unapologetically you. There will be days when the path feels too steep and the nights too long. But know this: every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. Every time you choose to stand up, to speak your truth, to love yourself through the pain, you are rewriting your story. You are creating a life not defined by your scars, but by your strength. So walk forward with grace, carry your wounds with pride, trust the journey even when the road is unclear, and above all, remember that you are never alone. You are part of a greater story, a story of resilience, hope, and infinite possibility. And your story, your true, beautiful, imperfect story, is exactly what the world needs right now. Thank you for allowing me to share this space with you. Thank you for your courage, your openness, and your heart. Keep shining, keep healing, keep being you, because the world is brighter just because you are here.